first transfer we're going to do is a stand pivot transfer with a walker. For every transfer, you're going to put one hand where you're coming from, one hand where you're going to, and you tell the patient to lean forward. So lean forward, stand up, hold the walker. We're going to turn, back up till you feel the bed on your legs, and we're going to sit nice and slow. Great. Next transfer we're going to do is a stand pivot without a rolling walker. We put one hand where we're coming from, one hand where we're going to. The patient leans forward, stand up, she turns, and sits. The next transfer we're going to do is a squat pivot transfer. This is a good transfer to use when the patient has generalized weakness and can't fully stand up all the way. So they only have to stand up a little bit to get in and out of the bed. Again, we have the patient put one hand where they're coming from, one hand where they're going to. We have the patient lean forward and she scoots over. Perfect. To get back into the chair, same thing, she's going to reach over here as best she can, and we're going to scoot back over. Another variation of the squat pivot transfer is to have the patient lean really far forward and you reach over their back. This helps them unweight their backside and move easier to the bed. So we have the patient lean forward. I hold on to the gait belt. Again, the patient puts their hand where they're, one hand where they're coming from, one hand where they're going to. We lean the patient forward and she scoots back. To go back to the chair, she's going to reach for the armrest and we lean forward and scoot. This is a very helpful transfer because it helps the patient lean forward. A lot of our patients are fearful of falling, but the key to every transfer is to lean forward so they feel a little bit more secure leaning forward if you reach over their back. The next transfer we're going to do is called a scoot pivot transfer. These are for patients that cannot perform a squat pivot to get to the bed. So they have a reason not to put weight on their legs, like a bilateral fracture or wounds on their feet, or they're paraplegic and can't use their legs at all, or they are bilateral amputee and they don't have any legs to use. So we use this is called a sliding board. When we're setting up for this transfer, this sliding board has to go way under the patient's hip. It bridges the gap between the wheelchair and the bed. So we have to have the patient lean very far over. We place the board underneath her hip and she gets settled. We put one hand where she's coming from, one hand where she's going to. Take care that the patient doesn't roll their fingers under the edge of the board because when they weight shift, they'll smash their fingers. So you want their fingers to be splayed just like this. This transfer is not done in one motion. We break it up into tinier motions. So we lean forward and scoot. Okay? Lean forward and scoot. Okay? And lean forward and scoot. To go back to the chair with the scoot pivot transfer, again you need the sliding board. You have the patient lean over and put it way underneath their hip. She puts one hand where she's coming from, one hand where she's going to. If the patient can reach across and hold on to the arm rest, let them do so. If they can't, have them put their hand on the seat, just taking care not to hold on to the edge of the board with their fingers curled under because they will smash their fingers. Okay. What we're going to do is lean forward and scoot. We readjust our hands, lean forward and scoot, and then one more. Lean forward and scoot. Perfect. The last transfer we're going to go over is using a Steady. This is not a lifting device, but a transferring device. To use this device, you come straight up to the patient, you have her pick her feet up and put it on the foot plate, and you want her feet on the foot plate and her knees to touch this padded surface, okay? Once she's in position, you lock the casters. You have the patient put her hands up on the bar, okay? When the patient goes to stand up, she just has to stand up a little bit. So go ahead and stand up. And then we flap the levers down and the patient just semi-sits. Good. So this is the position of the patient. We unlock the casters and move her to where we need to have her go.